Aaron worked alone in the small space station at the edge of the galaxy. The station was old and creaked with every movement. Machines hummed and beeped, but most of them were broken or too quiet. He spent his days fixing engines, repairing old drones, and making sure the lights stayed on. No one noticed him much, and he liked it that way. He did not care for praise or attention. For Aaron, the work itself was enough. Every night, after finishing his tasks, he walked through the dark corridors of the station with a small bag of food. He never went to the main dining hall or the crowded areas. Instead, he went to the quiet tunnels where a group of stray cats lived. The cats were strange but not frightening. Their fur shimmered faintly, and their eyes glowed softly in the dim light. Aaron never asked where they came from. He just knew they were hungry and alone like him in some ways. He sat on a worn metal bench and called softly, "Here you go, friends." One by one the cats came out of hiding. They rubbed against his legs and ate quickly. Aaron watched them with a small smile. He liked the quiet company. No words were needed. The cats never judged him. They never asked for anything beyond the food he offered. Some nights he spoke to them as he fed them. "You all are lucky to be here, away from the storms outside," he said. Sometimes a cat would curl in his lap, and he would run his hand gently over its soft fur. It was a simple life, but in those moments he felt peace. He did not know that he was being watched not just by the cats, but by eyes far older and wiser than any human or alien in the galaxy. Unseen, the goddess observed him. She had sent the cats as her spies to learn about humans. Across the stars, humans had earned a reputation for greed, violence, and selfishness. She expected to see the same in Aaron. But night after night, she watched him quietly care for creatures that could not repay him. She saw how he worked tirelessly, not for money or fame, but because he felt it was right. Aaron did not know he was part of a cosmic test. He did not even know a goddess existed. All he knew was that the cats needed him and he wanted to help. He cleaned the tunnels as best as he could, fixed small broken lights so they would not hurt the cats, and made sure they always had food. Sometimes he even talked to the empty air as if it were the cats' thoughts. "I hope someone out there cares about you all like I do," he said quietly. Life on the station was not easy. Supplies were limited, and every repair was a challenge. Many days were long, filled with sparks, smoke, and clanking metal. Sometimes he would sit in his small cabin, tired and lonely, eating a simple meal and staring at the stars. He missed having friends or family nearby. Yet, when night came, he did not rest completely. He walked to the tunnels, carrying the small bag of food because the cats relied on him. He felt responsible for them, and that feeling gave him purpose. Other humans on the station sometimes noticed the cats. Some thought they were pests. Some tried to shoo them away. But Aaron never argued. He only smiled and said, "They are harmless. Just let them be." He did not need anyone's approval. In his mind, helping them was not heroic. It was just what he had to do. The goddess, watching through her spies, began to feel something unusual. She had expected selfishness, cruelty, or fear. Instead, she saw care, patience, and quiet courage. Each small act of kindness by Aaron puzzled her. Why would a human be so gentle with creatures that could not fight or help him? What he did seemed so simple, yet it was extraordinary. Night after night, Aaron continued his routine. Some cats followed him like shadows. Others stayed in the corners watching. He never knew that through their eyes, the goddess learned about human patience and compassion. He never knew that his small acts of feeding and caring were slowly changing her view of his kind. Aaron slept lightly in his small cabin, the sounds of the station surrounding him. The hum of the engines, the distant echoes of the corridors, and the soft purring of the cats in the tunnels became the music of his life. He did not need luxury or recognition. All he needed was the quiet work, the small responsibilities, and the gentle company of creatures who depended on him. And so, the quiet mechanic continued his nights, feeding stray cats, fixing broken machines, and living simply. Each act, though small, was a thread in a larger tapestry, a story unfolding without him knowing. In the dark corridors of the station, in the shimmer of cat eyes, and in the endless stars outside, something greater was watching, and quietly learning from him. The next morning, Aaron woke to the soft hum of the station. The lights flickered gently, and small pieces of machinery lay scattered on the floor from his late-night repairs. He stretched and yawned, preparing for another long day. Outside the window, stars glimmered in the vast darkness of space. To him they were beautiful but distant. He rarely thought about them, focusing instead on what was close and real: machines, cats, and the quiet life he had built. The cats, however, were not as ordinary as they seemed. Each one had a pair of eyes that glowed faintly, reflecting not just light, but understanding. They followed Aaron's movements silently, slipping in and out of corners, observing every motion. What looked like ordinary curiosity was something far more profound. The goddess had woven her consciousness into them, allowing her to see, hear, and feel through their senses. From her cosmic throne she watched. At first she had expected deceit, laziness, or selfishness. Humanity, in her experience, was often harsh and self-serving. Yet Aaron's actions contradicted every expectation she held. He fixed broken parts, shared his food, and carried out tedious tasks without complaint or complaint. Even when the station's alarms sounded and other humans panicked, he remained calm. His focus was on solving problems, not seeking attention. The goddess leaned forward in her cosmic presence, her curiosity growing. She saw him repair a leaking pipe that threatened to flood a maintenance tunnel. Sweat dripped from his forehead, and his hands were smeared with grease, yet he worked steadily, humming softly to himself. In another part of the station, a stray cat approached, mewing. Aaron paused, smiled, and offered a bit of leftover food. The act was simple, almost mundane, but in the eyes of the goddess, it was extraordinary. She had sent her spies to watch humans for centuries. Some species had risen and fallen under her gaze, judged harshly for greed or cruelty. Yet here was a single human, small and quiet, performing acts that carried no glory. Aaron did not know he was being observed. He did not know he was part of a cosmic study. All he knew was that the cats needed him and he wanted to help. Throughout the day the cats followed him. Some perched on beams above, their eyes glimmering. Others brushed against his legs or sat on tables, watching the tools he used. When he worked on complex machinery, the goddess observed the patience in his fingers, the careful attention to detail. Every twist of a wrench, every careful adjustment, was an example of his dedication. The goddess's thoughts wandered. Humans were unpredictable. They could be violent, selfish, and dangerous, but they could also be patient, kind, and thoughtful. Aaron was proof that one human could embody the best of their kind, even in a world that often rewarded the opposite. The goddess began to question her assumptions. Perhaps humanity was more than she had believed. Aaron's life on the station was simple, but it was not easy. Supplies were limited and repairs were often challenging. Many systems were outdated or failing. Yet he moved through the work without complaint, fixing broken lights, clogged vents, and malfunctioning engines. He always found time to check on the cats, leaving small portions of food along his path. To him this was normal. To the goddess it was remarkable. Other humans on the station rarely noticed Aaron. Some gave him a nod of thanks, others ignored him completely. He did not mind. Recognition was not part of his work. His satisfaction came from seeing machines run smoothly again, seeing lights shine in dark corridors, and hearing the soft purrs of the cats he fed. Every small success was enough. The goddess watched as night fell again. The cats gathered around Aaron, waiting for their usual meal. He kneeled down, unpacked a small bag of food, and spoke softly. "Here you go, friends. Eat well." The cats approached carefully, some curling in his lap, some brushing against his hands. Aaron laughed softly at a small gray cat that batted playfully at his sleeve. Through the cat's eyes, the goddess felt his quiet joy. She had expected selfishness or cunning, but she felt none of that in him. He acted out of compassion and patience, not expectation or fear. Each meal, each repair, each gentle word to the cats revealed the goodness in him. Slowly the goddess began to feel respect for this human. Aaron did not speak of gods or cosmic powers. He did not know that a being far older than stars herself was learning from him. He only acted according to what felt right. That was his strength, the goddess realized. True kindness, she understood, needed no witnesses. True courage did not seek glory. And here, in this small station at the edge of space, a human displayed both in quiet simplicity. When Aaron finally rested, the cats curled around him for warmth. The station was silent except for the soft hum of engines and the faint purring of the animals. The goddess lingered, studying him, thinking that perhaps humanity was not as dangerous as she had believed. One quiet mechanic, feeding stray cats, had begun to change her mind. And so the night passed. Stars glittered in the darkness outside the station windows. Machines hummed in the corridors. The goddess watched, learning, understanding, and slowly realizing that sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness could speak louder than the mightiest powers in the galaxy. The next day the station began to feel uneasy. Small alarms blinked across control panels, warning of minor system failures. Nothing dangerous yet, but enough to cause concern. Other humans hurried about, trying to fix the problems quickly, often arguing over priorities. Panic whispered through the corridors. But Aaron stayed calm. He did not rush. He did not shout. He simply went to work. He started with the power systems, checking connections and adjusting circuits with careful hands. Sparks sometimes flew, and a low hum filled the air, but Aaron moved steadily. The cats followed him quietly, slipping in and out of corners, watching. They had grown used to his calm presence, trusting him completely. He paid them little attention, but each night he made sure they had food, water, and a warm place to rest. Other station workers came and went, shouting instructions, arguing, or seeking help. Some noticed Aaron's quiet work and shook their heads, thinking he was too slow. Others were too panicked to care. But Aaron kept his focus, treating each task as it came. He repaired a malfunctioning air vent, patched a leaking pipe, and reset broken lights, all without complaint. He did not wait for gratitude or recognition. He only worked because it was necessary. The goddess watched through the cat's eyes. This was what she had been waiting for. She wanted to see how humans behaved under pressure. Many humans she had studied in the past panicked, argued, or acted selfishly. Some abandoned weaker companions or hoarded resources. Yet Aaron, a single human, acted differently. He put the needs of others above his own comfort. He worked tirelessly to protect the station and the creatures within it, even when exhaustion began to weigh on him. Hours passed. The alarms grew louder as more systems faltered. Lights flickered, machines groaned, and the smell of overheated circuits filled the air. Other humans argued, some shouting at each other in frustration. Aaron, however, remained silent. He moved from one task to another with precision, never stopping to complain. When a small drone whirred in distress, he paused, picked it up carefully, and repaired it. The operator who had been panicking earlier stared in disbelief. "How are you so calm?" they asked. Aaron smiled faintly. "It's just work. Panic doesn't fix anything." Through the cats, the goddess felt something new in Aaron. It was patience, but also a quiet courage. He was not seeking glory or recognition. He did not perform for her eyes or for anyone else. He acted because it was right. Each small act, repairing a vent, feeding a cat, fixing a drone, was part of a larger pattern. And in that pattern, the goddess began to see the true strength of humanity, the ability to act rightly even when no one is watching. Night came again, but Aaron did not rest immediately. He checked the station systems one more time, making sure life support was stable. The alarms had quieted, the lights shone steadily, and the air smelled clean. He finally settled in the quiet corridor where the cats waited. Kneeling, he took out the small bag of food. "You've been patient today," he said softly. "Eat well, friends." The cats approached carefully, some curling against him, some brushing against his hands. The goddess observed this moment with fascination. Humans were unpredictable. Many were selfish or careless. But here was one human who, under pressure, showed no fear, no anger, and no selfishness. Aaron's courage was not loud or dramatic. It was quiet, patient, and consistent. The goddess began to understand that true strength was not measured in power or conquest, but in acts of care, even when no one notices. Other humans on the station were exhausted. Some had given up or gone to rest. Aaron continued working because he felt responsible, not because he was told to. He did not need thanks, praise, or attention. All he needed was to do what was right. And the cats, his silent companions, trusted him completely. They had learned to rely on his steady hands and kind heart. The night grew deeper. The station hummed with quiet activity. Aaron finally leaned against a wall, rubbing his tired hands together. The cats gathered around him, purring softly. He smiled faintly. "We made it through another day," he said quietly. He did not know that the goddess, observing through the cats, had begun to change her opinion of humanity. One human, acting with patience, care, and quiet courage, had shown her that humans were capable of goodness, even in difficult circumstances. Aaron closed his eyes for a few moments, feeling the gentle warmth of the cats around him. Outside, the stars twinkled silently, far away but beautiful. The station was safe for now, and life continued, not with fanfare or celebration, but with quiet resilience. And through it all, the goddess continued to watch, slowly learning that the smallest acts of kindness and courage could speak louder than the mightiest displays of power in the universe. For Aaron, it was another night of work done and lives quietly protected. For the goddess, it was a revelation. One quiet mechanic, feeding stray cats and fixing broken machines, had begun to teach her the true strength of humanity. And that lesson, though small in scale, was far greater than anything she had expected. That night, Aaron moved through the corridors of the station as usual. The air was quiet except for the soft hum of engines and the faint purring of the cats following him. He carried his small bag of food and stopped in the familiar corner of the maintenance tunnels. "Here you go, friends," he said softly, placing portions on the floor. The cats approached immediately, curling in his lap and brushing against his legs. He smiled and watched them eat, unaware of the extraordinary eyes watching him through their own. The station had been quiet for hours, but something different lingered in the air. A soft light glimmered faintly in the tunnel, and the cats paused, their heads lifting to look at Aaron. The light grew warmer, almost comforting, and a voice, soft yet powerful, spoke through the silence. "Aaron." He froze, startled. His eyes scanned the corridor, but he saw no one. Only the cats looked at him knowingly, their eyes reflecting a light that seemed more alive than ever. Who's there?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "I am the one who has been watching through them," the voice said, calm and deep. "Through these cats I have seen your actions, your patience, your kindness. I am the goddess who has studied humanity for centuries." Aaron blinked. "A goddess?" he whispered, unsure if he imagined the voice. He took a cautious step forward. Why me? Why are you here?" "You act as humans should, yet rarely do," the voice said. "I have watched your species for a long time. Many are selfish, violent, and careless. But you care without expecting reward. You help without seeking recognition. You show compassion even when no one watches. That is why I am here." Aaron shook his head in disbelief. I just do what feels right," he said softly. "I feed the cats because they need food. I fix machines because they are broken. I do what I can. I'm not special." "You are special," the goddess replied. "Not because of your power or skill, but because of your choices. You have shown me that humanity is capable of goodness. You do not need to know that I am watching for your actions to matter. That is what makes them extraordinary." Aaron's hands trembled slightly, but he smiled faintly. "I never thought about gods or cosmic powers," he said. "I just wanted to help. That's all I know." "That is enough," the goddess said, her voice softening. "Through your quiet acts, you have taught me something important. True courage and kindness do not need recognition. True heroism is silent, patient, and consistent. You have done more than you realize." The cats purred softly around him, their eyes reflecting the light of her presence. Aaron knelt down and stroked one of them, as if nothing extraordinary were happening. "I don't understand," he said quietly. "You think I'm teaching you something?" "I am the one who learns," she replied. "Your simple actions have shown me that humans are more than I believed. One person's choices, small and unnoticed by others, can change the way the universe sees an entire species." Aaron thought about his life on the station, the lonely nights, the endless work, the quiet moments with the cats. He had never thought of these as heroic. They were just the life he lived. But now, hearing the goddess speak, he realized that even small acts mattered. Every repair, every meal shared, every moment of patience had a meaning beyond what he knew. "You have shown me humanity's potential," the goddess continued. "And I will remember this. I will not judge your species too harshly. There is hope, and that hope begins with people like you." Aaron nodded slowly, still in awe. "I don't need recognition," he said softly. "I never wanted praise. I just wanted to do what's right." "And that is why your actions are greater than most," she said. "Remember, kindness is a power stronger than any weapon. Compassion is more lasting than conquest. Your life, your choices, are teaching me, teaching the universe, the true strength of humanity." The light faded slowly, leaving only the hum of the station and the soft purrs of the cats. The goddess's presence lingered, calm and gentle, but Aaron knew she had left a mark on him, just as he had left a mark on her understanding. He looked at the cats, who blinked at him knowingly. They were no longer just observers. They were companions, witnesses to a quiet, extraordinary moment. Aaron smiled, feeling a strange warmth. He did not fully understand everything that had happened, but he felt peace. He had always lived simply, helping when he could, and now he realized that even small, quiet actions mattered in ways he could never have imagined. That night, he settled in his small cabin, the cats curled around him, and for the first time he felt that the universe was watching not to punish but to learn. He closed his eyes, exhausted but calm, knowing that his life, simple and quiet, had touched something far greater than he had ever imagined. And somewhere, in the vast reaches of space, the goddess remembered the quiet mechanic who fed stray cats every night, understanding that true strength often comes in the smallest, most unnoticed acts of kindness. The station was quiet the next morning. Sunlight from nearby stars filtered through the windows, casting soft patterns on the metal floors. Aaron moved through the corridors as usual, checking machines and repairing small faults. The cats followed him, weaving between his legs, their eyes alert but calm. Something felt different in the air, though he could not put his finger on it. Aaron did not know that the goddess was still watching, though now with a different purpose. She had seen his kindness, patience, and quiet courage. She had realized that humans were more than their reputation suggested. And because of Aaron, she had changed her mind about judging his entire species. What he had done, quietly and without recognition, had shifted the understanding of a being far older and wiser than any human could imagine. The station was slowly coming back to life after the previous night's system troubles. Other humans began to notice the repairs. Lights stayed on steadily. Machines hummed efficiently. Even the air systems, which had faltered before, worked without interruption. People looked at Aaron differently now, though he did not notice. He still moved through the station calmly, fixing what needed fixing, never seeking praise or recognition. The cats, once mere spies, now seemed more relaxed. They played with him briefly, darting across corridors and rolling around his feet, but they also stayed alert, aware of the new sense of peace in the station. Aaron fed them as he always did, scattering small portions of food in familiar spots. "Eat well," he said softly, smiling down at them. "You deserve it." They purred in response, curling near him as if understanding that this man had done something extraordinary, even if he did not. The goddess observed quietly, her presence subtle yet powerful. She saw not only Aaron's actions but the ripple they had caused. Other humans began to notice his calmness and patience. Some adopted small acts of kindness themselves, inspired without realizing it by his quiet example. His life, simple and unremarkable on the surface, had begun to influence others in ways that were profound yet gentle. Aaron did not know he was a teacher. He did not seek to be one. His life remained modest, repairing machines, feeding the cats, and ensuring the station ran smoothly. But through his quiet consistency, he had shown something important about humanity, that true strength lay not in conquest or power, but in patience, care, and the willingness to act rightly even when unseen. Later that night, as Aaron settled in his small cabin, he reflected quietly on the day. The station hummed around him, and the cats curled up on and near him, purring softly. He felt tired yet peaceful. He had done what he could as always. But this time, a strange sense of completeness filled him, though he did not understand why. The goddess spoke softly in the silence, through no words he could hear, but through the calm that filled his heart. "You have shown me the potential of your kind," she thought. "Through one small, quiet human, I have learned that humanity is capable of great compassion and patience. Your life, though simple, carries lessons for the universe." Aaron slept lightly, unaware of the cosmic observation. He dreamed of nothing but simple things: the soft fur of the cats, the hum of the engines, and the quiet glow of the stars outside. He did not know that his acts of kindness, repeated night after night, had changed a goddess's understanding. He had not sought recognition, but his life had left an indelible mark on the cosmos. Days turned into weeks, and the station continued to function smoothly. Aaron's routine remained the same, but the world around him seemed a little brighter. Humans began to treat the station more respectfully. Some repaired minor systems on their own, inspired by his quiet example. Stray cats still roamed, still trusted him, and still watched the humans with new curiosity. Aaron continued to feed them every night, unaware that they had once been spies and now were companions in a different way. The goddess withdrew her presence from the station, satisfied. She had witnessed something extraordinary: the quiet, patient courage of one human who had acted without expectation of reward or recognition. She remembered his gentle smile, the soft words to the cats, and the steady hands that repaired broken machines. Humanity, she decided, was no longer under immediate judgment. One person had reminded her that the small actions of ordinary beings could hold power beyond imagination. Aaron did not change his life. He did not seek fame or cosmic recognition. He remained the quiet mechanic, repairing machines, feeding the cats, and living simply. Yet his life had grown more meaningful, even if he did not know it. Every repair, every small kindness, every patient act had contributed to a larger story, one that even the stars themselves watched silently. And so the quiet mechanic lived on. The cats stayed with him, no longer watchers but friends. The station thrived, not because of power or technology, but because of simple, patient care. The universe, through the eyes of a goddess, had seen what humans could be when they acted from the heart. One life, small and quiet, had changed the way the cosmos viewed an entire species. Aaron slept peacefully that night, the cats curled around him, the stars shining in the distance. The lesson was simple yet profound. Humanity's greatest strength lay not in domination or force, but in quiet, patient, and kind hearts. And sometimes, even the smallest acts could echo across the universe, teaching even gods the value of compassion.